Throughout history, certain political leaders have stood out for their ability to accumulate power and exert a profound influence over the fate of nations and even the world. These leaders were not merely charismatic or exceptional strategists. Their cruelty, cunning, and worldview often made them both fascinating and terrifying figures. We will explore the factors that made leaders such as Napoleon Bonaparte, Josef Stalin, Alexander the Great, Adolf Hitler, Genghis Khan, Mao Zedong, and Benito Mussolini so powerful, and how their actions forever shaped the course of history. Napoleon Bonaparte. The rise of an emperor and the collapse of his ambition. Napoleon Bonaparte is often remembered as one of the greatest military strategists in history. His ability to plan and execute battles brilliantly, combined with a rare capacity to inspire his troops, led to his meteoric rise in the early 19th century. Napoleon was not only a military general but also the emperor of a vast portion of Europe, with his conquests extending from Paris to Moscow. What made Napoleon so dangerous? The secret to Napoleon's power lay in his ability to manipulate both domestic politics and international relations. He was able to effectively use national aspirations, nationalism, and military strength to consolidate his rule over France and much of Europe. Furthermore, his ability to navigate relations with both elites and the masses was unparalleled, and he transformed the French Revolution from a revolt into a dynamic empire. However, his biggest mistake was the invasion of Russia in 1812, a campaign that, after initially seeming promising, ended in a monumental disaster, leading to the collapse of his empire. Napoleon is a classic example of how boundless ambition and a lack of prudence can bring down even the most skilled leader. His rise was as swift as his fall, but the legacy of his reforms and conquests still resonates in the modern world. Josef Stalin. The dictatorship of fear and the building of a global power. Josef Stalin is another leader whose relentless pursuit of power not only defined the Soviet Union, but also left an indelible mark on world history. Under Stalin's regime, the USSR transformed from a nation devastated by the Russian Revolution into a global superpower. But at what cost? What made Stalin so dangerous? Stalin was undoubtedly one of the most dangerous figures of the 20th century due to his ability to control the Soviet state completely and eliminate any threats to his power. His policy of internal purges, which resulted in millions of deaths and the establishment of a terror regime through the KGB and the Gulag system, forced labor camps, not only destroyed his opposition, but also imposed absolute control over the Soviet people. His ability to maintain a facade of stability and power while employing brutal repression made him a terrifying figure. Stalin not only consolidated the power of the Soviet Union, but also threw the world into a global confrontation during the Cold War, provoking a nuclear arms race and a series of indirect conflicts. Stalin knew how to play international politics and manipulate alliances, being both the leader of a superpower and the commander of a totalitarian state. His combination of unyielding political leadership and ruthless cruelty made him one of the most dangerous figures in history. Alexander the Great, the unstoppable conqueror, and his imperial legacy. Alexander the Great is one of the most legendary figures in history, revered as one of the greatest conquerors of all time. With a career that spanned from 334 BC to his death in 323 BC, he built an empire that stretched from Greece to northern India, spreading Hellenistic culture across vast regions of the world. What made Alexander so powerful? The key to Alexander's power lay in his extraordinary military skills, his vision of uniting the world under one leadership, and his ability to inspire loyalty among his soldiers. He not only conquered territories but also established a lasting cultural legacy, spreading Greek civilization and introducing the concept of Hellenism, the fusion of cultures that would influence the world for centuries. However, Alexander was also a dangerous figure because of his tendency to treat other peoples with disdain and subjugation. His empire was built by force, and his vision of a united empire often meant destruction and forced assimilation. Despite his greatness, he also demonstrated the dangers of autocratic and relentless leadership, characterized by his constant quest for expansion and brutality toward those who opposed him. Adolf Hitler, totalitarian terror, and the rise of Nazism. Adolf Hitler, the leader of Nazi Germany, is perhaps the most horrific example of absolute power combined with a fanatical, genocidal ideology. His rise to power during the 1930s and his leadership during World War II resulted in one of the greatest human catastrophes in history. With an ideology based on extreme nationalism and racism, Hitler not only caused the deaths of millions but also sought to reshape all of Europe according to his distorted vision. What made Hitler so dangerous? Hitler was dangerous due to his ability to manipulate the masses and use propaganda to consolidate his power. He understood the psychology of people and, through inflammatory speeches and total control over the media, was able to incite hatred and unity in his pursuit of Aryan supremacy. He also knew how to exploit the desperation of the German population after World War I, channeling their frustrations toward Jews, communists, and other minorities. His pursuit of territorial expansion and the creation of an empire based on pure race led to World War II and the Holocaust, which resulted in the deaths of millions. Hitler is a tragic example of how power, combined with radical ideology and mass manipulation, can have devastating consequences. Genghis Khan, the unstoppable conqueror of Central Asia. Genghis Khan, the founder of the Mongol Empire, is one of the most successful conquerors in history. His rise from chaos to greatness is a testament to his willpower, cunning, and brutality. What made Genghis Khan so powerful? Genghis Khan was unbeatable on the battlefield. He united the scattered Mongol tribes and created one of the largest contiguous empires in history. His innovative military strategy, such as the use of fast cavalry and psychological warfare, made his armies an unstoppable force. Additionally, his ability to infiltrate and conquer territories quickly and efficiently allowed the Mongol Empire to expand at an impressive rate. However, Genghis Khan was also feared for his extreme brutality. He exterminated entire populations of conquered cities and used fear as an effective political tool to ensure the submission of his enemies. His empire, though vast and powerful, was built upon the ruins of millions of human lives. Mao Zedong, the Communist Revolution and the Price of Utopia. Mao Zedong was the leader of the Chinese Communist Party and the founder of the People's Republic of China, and his vision for a socialist China had a tremendous impact both on the country and on the world. What made Mao so dangerous? Mao was responsible for a series of political campaigns that, although initially promoting social revolution, led to immense human suffering. The Long March and the Great Leap Forward were just some examples where his ideology led millions of people to die due to famine, forced labor, and violent campaigns. His political manipulation and social control devastated China for decades, with his Cultural Revolution destroying both traditional culture and the social fabric of the nation. Mao was able to consolidate absolute power through mass control, censorship, and the elimination of opposition. His ruthless leadership left a legacy of suffering, but also a China that under his regime became a global superpower. Benito Mussolini, the archetype of fascism. Benito Mussolini, the fascist leader of Italy, is another historical figure who used fear and propaganda to control an entire nation. He was the creator of fascism, an ideology based on absolute power, extreme nationalism, and authoritarianism. What made Mussolini so dangerous? Mussolini used his oratory skills to inspire Italians to unite under a fascist banner, often promising national revitalization and a renewed empire. He took control of Italy after his march on Rome in 1922 and quickly established a regime of censorship, political persecution, and militarization of society. While his fascist ideology led to an alliance with Hitler during World War II, his policies also caused great destruction both in his own nation and in the territories he attempted to conquer. The rise of leaders such as Napoleon, Stalin, Alexander, Hitler, Genghis Khan, Mao, and Mussolini reveals crucial lessons about power and its consequences. Unbounded ambition is a path to destruction. The relentless pursuit of power without regard for consequences, as seen with Hitler, Napoleon, and Stalin, often leads to war and devastation. Absolute control corrupts. Leaders like Stalin, Mussolini, and Mao teach us that the centralization of power in one figure can lead to totalitarian regimes and widespread oppression. The power to inspire and manipulate the masses is a dangerous weapon. Leaders like Hitler and Napoleon knew how to shape public opinion and exploit national sentiment to achieve their goals. Imperialist and expansionist visions can be devastating. Alexander, Genghis Khan, and Napoleon show how the desire for global domination can lead to destruction and suffering on a colossal scale. Studying these leaders gives us insight into what is possible when power is concentrated in cruel and unrelenting hands. While some of these leaders created empires that changed history, their actions proved that absolute power without checks is a dangerous force that can lead to tragedy and devastation. Their lessons continue to echo in modern politics and the study of leadership, reminding us that true power must be wielded with responsibility and discernment.